how do we scale artificial intelligence within trade operations?
Where we see value is mostly on the data extraction.
Probably create some pretty good trade documents which are fake, and if I can do it, I'm sure some very good fraudsters can do an even better job.
We automate all those tasks which today are still completely manual handled.
Artificial intelligence is really moving from experimentation to true deployment across transaction banking and trade finance, particularly in document checking, guarantees, fraud detection, and operational automation. At Crédit Agricole CIB, the focus is increasing on agentic AI, which we're honing in on today. That's systems designed to execute defined microprocesses within controlled environments rather than simply just generating content. In Paris at the ICC Banking Commission, we're delighted to be joined by Dominique Honoré to discuss where AI is delivering operational value, how banks are managing the governance of agents and risk, and what adoption could look like in the next few years. Dominique Honoré, welcome.
Hello, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. So, Dominique, there's a lot of discussion around AI in banking, but where are you seeing the first meaningful operational impacts in your business, specifically within trade finance and transaction banking?
Good morning. So yes, AI is definitely the topic of the year or of the 10 years to come. Definitely, we see it very efficient in managing all the trade finance processes, and we already see practical cases where we will use, and we are already using AI to facilitate all the micro processes. So it will definitely start as of today on micro processes before going to scale and being able to be used by any businesses within the bank. So where we see value is mostly on the data extraction, on the vetting and drafting of guarantees, on pre-check of documentary credits, and how we extract value and we automate all those tasks which today are still completely manual handled.
Thank you very much. So, can you just clarify, Dominique, what's the difference between the automation tools that trade finance already uses and agentic AI use cases?
Yes, absolutely. So as of today, we are all the banks, I guess, are using RPAs, so robotic process automation. It is really based on rules, and the robot will execute the rules. So this is really specifically designed to handle some specific task, and it will not go beyond. What we see with agentic AI is that it will change the way we automate processes, because we will use agents which can learn and which can extract value of documents, which can instruct and link to our own ancillary IT systems, and therefore it's not intelligent, but at least they can act as if they were almost human and make decisions, at least to apply processes, a task to change the way it is done normally, completely automatically. So yes, for us it's a change in the way to design the workload of the trade finance operators, and all the reflection today is to decide how we will include that agent within the whole process chain front to back.
Thank you very much. And I guess here we are at ICC Banking Commission, and you mentioned that agentic AI can help draft guarantees. How effective can these tools be when working with some of those within structured frameworks, such as the Uniform Rules for Demand Guarantees, or URDG 758, as many know?
Absolutely. I would say that the fact that there is this framework of rules, very specific and very structured, makes guarantees a very good candidate for applying AI tools. So why? Because we can learn all those rules to the machine. Plus, we have been developing internally such a tool by adding also our own golden rules, because we add to the URDG rules, obviously, some market rules or own banks rules. So we have really input all those information into the application that we have been designing, so that we can use it to look at any draft of guarantee and extract all the clauses which are not compliant with those rules. So by comparison, then we can quite quickly decide whether we have to change and to redraft some of those clauses, which we are doing, and therefore we are saving obviously operating times in terms of looking at all those texts and comparing also the instruction letter with the draft guarantee to make sure there is no inconsistency between both. So at the end of the day, it helps. It helps being more efficient, quicker. But well, it is important to note that the operator will remain obviously the one making the decision on the value of the guarantee and the final text. So AI will be an agent and an assistant, not final decision making on the validation of those guarantees.
How realistically can agentic AI support documentary examination and also discrepancy detection, so perhaps against the UCP 600 rules for certain types of documents without introducing new risks?
This is a good question because definitely we see AI as one AI for LCs, one of the most promising areas of development, because of the volumes, because of the flows, because of all the paper-based documents that we have to examine and scrutinize. So we have started looking at how to use AI to find all the discrepancies we have between the documents and the initial LCs, using, of course, the UCP 600 rules definition. As for the guarantees, it's easy to plug into one tool. In that specific case, we will use an external provider, so not an internal development, because there were already some solutions in the market. And it is maybe more standardized as an approach than for guarantees, and so we will implement it and deploy it quite soon. So it will help making all the analysis on compliance, AML, and financial security checks. But like for the guarantees, at the end of the day, we also need to be able to analyze, to assess the negative false, positive false, and therefore we need, at the end of the day, a human expert to make the final decision and validate the outcome of that process.
Where do you see back office trade finance roles going? Do you see them as evolving, or do we see them as disappearing for the banks?
Not at all. So, no, it will be a scoop if I was announcing that Crédit Agricole would really get rid of all the back office teams. This is absolutely not the idea, but we, as I mentioned before, we will always need some human expertise. This is crucial, but what we are already seeing that there will be a change in the profile of the trade finance operation teams. They will turn into more value-added tasks. So they will spend less time on manual documentation checks and data typing, but they will focus on exception handling and risk analysis. So it means changing a bit also the profile of the people. They will have to get more interactions with the technology and data teams. So it means also that they will have to be a bit more open to technology. We already have incorporated data scientists within the back office teams, so that they also can provide and diffuse that new culture. And so we will need people who have that risk culture and also analytical skills to make sure that they can interpret the data that they will extract from the tools. So all in all, it means we need a new HR approach on the recruitment, on the renewal of the teams. As soon as people are leaving, retiring, then we need also to renew, to replace those people with different profiles, and also implement training sessions, permanent training sessions, and change management. So this has already started, but it will have to be accelerated in the months and years to come.
Dominique, one question on manipulation, because I think that not to show off, but I could probably create some pretty good trade documents which are fake, and if I can do it, I'm sure some very good fraudsters can do an even better job. How do we go about addressing cybersecurity risk and also risk of manipulation of trade documents as AI becomes even more sophisticated, and so does fraud ultimately?
Of course, well, conversely, I think we hope AI will help having less attempts of fraud and help getting more transparency on the documentation. So all the banks have really stringent policies in terms of IT security. We have implemented a lot of processes to make sure that once we are developing a solution using AI, for instance, internal or external, we need to go through all some processes, committees, and validation from various departments of the bank: risk, IT security, compliance, data protection, etc. So this is very complex. Sometimes we find it a bit long, but at the end of the day, this is really to make sure that we are comfortable with the risk. We are using private or public clouds, depending on the sensitivity of the data. And we are monitoring cyber security quite regularly. And we have also a robust data governance for the bank globally that we absolutely need to comply with, to make sure that we avoid obviously this kind of intrusion and fraud manipulation. In terms of technical IT security, obviously, I'm not a specialist, an IT expert, but we will define precisely access control, encryption of data if we expose data outside, and version control, also tracking changes to make sure that we have an audit trail of everything that will go through those tools.
How do we scale artificial intelligence within trade operations? Is it through, where are the constraints? Is it around the infrastructure constraints? Is it around the governance of data? Or is it perhaps about adoption and getting the organization ready to embrace AI?
This is a question, and actually the bank globally, the group, Crédit Agricole, is at the moment really looking at that strategy in terms of how we go from experimentation, case studies, to a more scalable AI approach. So we'll know in the coming weeks. But well, in the meantime, for us, the issue is not to cope with computing power capacity. Although we have ESG topics, and we are concerned within Crédit Agricole that we also need to make sure that we are not consuming too much power using AI. So this is really in the frame of the development of those solutions. But for us, it's more how we can standardize processes using AI, how we make sure that we have quality of data, and that the organization is ready. So all of that must be developed in parallel, which makes it a bit difficult. If we focus on trade finance, we have been developing a few years ago a trade data hub. So it was a huge work before we start looking at AI. So we did it in a proper order. But it took a lot of time to make sure that we had a consistency across the trade finance filière, and we have created that filière also for that purpose, front to back, to make sure that the data is really well identified, managed, and that the rules of each of the person regarding data are clear and managed. So we have now a clear governance framework to ensure the quality, accuracy, and accountability of that data. And for us, it starts really there, so that we can then afterwards deploy our solutions at scale.
So it starts with good data. Where does it end? Where are you most excited about in terms of, embedding artificial intelligence across trade finance operations? Where do you think the real benefits are going to be realized?
Well, for me, the real benefit will really appear when we will have designed all the architecture of our processing front to back, and that we would have incorporated agentic AI on a really scalable manner. So not pieces and pieces, but really on a rational way. So that everything is really logical in the way we approach all the tasks, all the controls, all the links we have to do with compliance, with risk, with legal, so that it then appears as a smooth process, reducing time, improving quality, and reducing also operational risks. So this is not a dream. I'm sure it will happen, but it means a lot of work to make sure that we at the end of the day come to this kind of lean approach using agentic AI and AI front to back.
Thank you very much, Dominique. That was Dominique Honoré at Crédit Agricole CIB, discussing the potential for agentic AI within transaction banking and trade finance. Dominique, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks to you.